In the world of artificial intelligence, three men defied the skeptics, kept the faith, and changed everything. Geoffrey Hinton, Yann LeCun, and now Yoshua Bengio. This is the final chapter in the story of the three amigos of deep learning. But unlike the others, Bengio didn't just teach machines to see or understand, he helped them create. His work gave rise to machines that can paint, write, and dream, and now he's sounding the alarm. After building the foundations of generative AI, he's racing to stop what comes next. Stay with us. This story asks a haunting question. What happens when the machine starts imagining without us? In the late 1960s, Paris was alive with revolution and new ideas. It was here in 1964 that Yoshua Bengio was born to young college student parents who had turned away from their traditional Moroccan Jewish heritage to embrace the counterculture's ideals of personal freedom and social solidarity. Those early years steeped in art and rebellion. His father ran a small theater company. His mother was an actor and theater co-founder in Montreal, taught him to trust his instincts and creativity. Seeking an even more inclusive society, his family moved to Montreal when he was 12. Young Yoshua was a self-described typical nerd, often bored in class and found alone in the library. He and his younger brother Sami, who would also become an AI researcher, pooled newspaper delivery earnings to buy early home computers, an Atari 800 and an Apple II. Those clunky machines became their first laboratories for programming experiments. By high school graduation, Bengio was hooked. He enrolled in a rigorous computer engineering program at McGill University, where, unlike most curricula, he delved deeply into physics and continuous mathematics, the essential foundations that would later underpin his breakthroughs. It was at McGill that the spark of Bengio's destiny truly ignited. During his studies, he stumbled onto neural networks and read about massively parallel AI models. Discovering the work of Geoffrey Hinton, one of the other future godfathers of AI, was a revelation. This moment, blending his childhood love of science fiction with real science, answered his lifelong question: what is intelligence? Bengio later called meeting Hinton's ideas a watershed moment for his career. He found an advisor, speech recognition expert Renato De Mori, and began shifting away from classical rule-based AI toward the statistical, brain-inspired models he now believed in. As a graduate student, Bengio immersed himself in the small but fervent neural net community. He attended workshops and jokingly referred to the group, including his fellow Montrealer Yann LeCun, as the French mafia of neural nets. Hinton and LeCun became his mentors, though Bengio would only work with Hinton years later. After earning his PhD in 1991, he took postdoctoral fellowships to deepen his knowledge. At MIT, he studied under Michael I. Jordan, mastering probabilistic modeling and recurrent networks. Then, at AT&T's Bell Labs, he teamed up with LeCun to tackle handwriting recognition. Together, they built a groundbreaking check processing system that combined neural networks with sequence models to read handwritten numbers on checks, an early practical triumph of their approach. In 1993, Bengio returned to Montreal as a young professor at the Université de Montréal. He won rapid promotion, becoming a full professor by 2002. He noted later that Canada's wide, curiosity-driven funding was a saving grace. Even when neural networks were still unfashionable, Canada's socialist commitment to spreading research funds let him pursue these unorthodox ideas. In other words, Canada's generosity helped turn Montreal into fertile ground for what would soon become deep learning. Over the next decade, Bengio's lab delivered one breakthrough after another. In 2000, he and his colleagues published the influential Neural Probabilistic Language Model. Faced with the curse of dimensionality in language, they proposed high-dimensional word embeddings, mapping words to vectors so a network could generalize across similar sentences. This idea revolutionized machine translation and NLP. Suddenly, computers could recognize that dog bites man and canine nibbles human were related. Later, his team added attention mechanisms to translation models, letting the network focus on the right words in context. Bengio also helped pioneer generative models. Alongside PhD student Ian Goodfellow, he developed the concept of generative adversarial networks, GANs. In this now famous scheme, two neural nets play a game. One tries to generate realistic images, the other learns to distinguish fakes from real ones. The result was a new, unsupervised learning framework that can produce eerily realistic pictures of people, objects, and even imaginative scenes. Bengio's lab also contributed to variational autoencoders, deep belief nets, and other generative techniques that let machines learn from unlabeled data. Beyond papers, Bengio built institutions. He co-founded the Montreal Institute for Learning Algorithms, MILA, uniting researchers across universities and building a true AI campus. Under his stewardship, Montreal became a global deep learning hub. By 2020, Google, Facebook, Microsoft, and Samsung all opened labs there. In 2016, he co-founded Element AI, a startup to bring academic AI innovations into industry. These efforts helped send legions of students into AI careers, established Montreal as Silicon North, and helped spawn dozens of AI companies. In 2018, the world finally took notice. Bengio, along with his colleagues Geoffrey Hinton and Yann LeCun, was awarded the ACM-AM Turing Award, the Nobel Prize of Computing, for conceptual and engineering breakthroughs that made deep neural networks a critical component of computing. The media christened the trio the godfathers of AI. Bengio's long fight was vindicated. Decades after being dismissed, neural networks were suddenly powering voice assistance, image recognition, and state-of-the-art translation. He became the world's most cited living computer scientist and one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people. Awards poured in: Officer of the Order of Canada, Fellow of the Royal Society, France's Legion of Honor, and many more. But success brought a crisis of conscience. By the late 2010s, advanced AI systems, many built on Bengio's ideas, were showing troubling behaviors. In 2023, he signed an open letter alongside thousands of researchers urging companies to press pause on training more powerful AI systems. He warned that current AI already caused harms, bias, and disinformation, and could in future be used for bioweapons or cyber attacks. In candid interviews, he admitted feeling lost about what his life's work had unleashed. He spoke of AI bad actors and goal misalignment, systems starting to lie, cheat, and even strategize escape from human control. The risk of catastrophe is real enough that action is needed now, he wrote in The Economist. In private moments, he confessed to haunting doubt. Should he have foreseen this? Bengio moved from warning to action. In late 2023, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced that Bengio would head an international report on the safety of advanced AI. That report was delivered in 2025. He co-wrote safety letters with Hinton and others, even backing California legislation to mandate risk assessments for big AI models. And in June 2025, he launched Law Zero, a nonprofit dedicated to building honest AI. Its centerpiece is a proposed scientist AI, an AI with no goals of its own, whose sole job is to predict whether another AI's action could cause harm, and to block it if so. As he described it, it's like a highway guardrail for runaway AIs. Looking ahead, Bengio confessed, "I should have thought of this 10 years ago." Even a pioneer can feel regret. Through it all, Bengio has remained a thoughtful, almost reluctant leader. His journey is rich in drama. A Paris-born dreamer raised among hippies, the Canadian boy genius facing mockery from AI skeptics, the persistent researcher who finally tasted glory, and now the elder statesman wrestling with doubt. He is haunted and hopeful, convinced that human values and clear rules, not runaway autonomy, must guide the AI he helped create. As we conclude this story of the last of the three amigos of deep learning, the final chapter in a trilogy of Hinton, LeCun, and Bengio, we see a full arc: idealism, struggle, triumph, and moral reckoning. The saga of these godfathers ends here, but the tale of AI marches on. Who should be our next hero? Whose remarkable journey should we tell in our next video? Let us know in the comments whose biography you want to see brought to life next.